Before we start today, I have to tell you about State Farm agent Brian McDevitt. A lot of our listeners have gone to him for all their insurance needs, and he's been very helpful in getting them the coverage they deserve. There's no game with Brian. He's just here to help and make sure you feel safe. If you have insurance needs and you haven't called him yet, what are you waiting for? Dial up the number, 630-796-2662. That's 630-796-2662. Or find him online at bryanismyagent.com. That's bryanismyagent.com. And make sure to mention Sports Talk Chicago. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I want to start today with this. There's always a point in your life where reality sets in. You lose your innocence. And you become an adult quick. Everyone could point to that one moment. Nothing's all rainbows and lollipops anymore. People realize, oh, crap. Reality sets in. Priorities change. And your mindset will never be the same. The Cubs, since 2016, were all about fairy tales, lollipops, and rainbows. This is a great team. They won the World Series. All we got to do is put in this, and we'll be fine. All we got to do is trade for Jose Quintana, and we'll be fine. We just got to sign a couple of other people. We'll be fine. A couple of stopgap guys. We'll be okay. No. No. It didn't work. You don't need me to tell you that because right now the Cubs are selling at the deadline. Now, I'm not here to bask in the glow, even though I said from 2019 that they should have rebuilt. Here to actually make a positive video. I want you to realize, Cubs fans, this is the best thing the Cubs have ever done for you since 2016. Yeah, believe it. There is nothing more beneficial for you, the fans, and for this organization than what they're doing right now. I had David Kaplan on a couple of days ago. If you missed it, go back and watch it. I asked him, are you disheartened by all these moves, by the core going away? He said no, because guess what? They never made it back to the World Series, which means that's it. I don't feel bad for this team breaking up. Thank you. There's no need to feel bad or sympathy. They were a great team. 5 playoff appearances, World Series, division titles. Bryant won an MVP, Rizzo, a couple of gold gloves, Baez. Not that these guys were bad. It's just that now they can't win. So instead of being broken up about it, instead of worrying and wondering what's going to happen to this team, if I were you, I'd be pretty happy at what's about to happen. The Cubs already made a trade. They traded Andrew Chapin, their relief pitcher, to the Oakland A's for 2 great prospects who we'll talk about in a second. But more's to come. And you have to understand that there's nothing wrong with it. There isn't. Sentimentally, I understand it. Might be hard to get rid of Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, all of these key players who won your World Series, broke a curse. But guess what? In 3 or 4 years, he'll be back. That's right, in 3 or 4 years, you'll be back to that level with a new core, new players, and a new chance to have this last longer. We can all agree that the Cubs should have won more than 1 World Series. With this talent, this roster, this core, they should have won 2 or 3. Minimum. They didn't. What went wrong? Well, guys underperformed. The core was overhyped to an extent. Now they can't win, and they're going to be shipped off. The Cubs have learned from their mistakes. Too many bad contracts given out. Jason Hayward, to this day, still baffles me. How do you pay this guy $180+ million to play great defense? How do you trade for Jose Quintana and give up a couple of your great prospects? How do you trade for Aroldis Chapman and give up Gleyber Torres? I understand that It helped them win the World Series, but even today, if you traded for Aroldis Chapman again, there is no chance in the world you'd give up a top 10 prospect. A couple of them. Cubs did. They were desperate, and to their credit, they won. But all these moves made out of desperation ended up hurting them down the road. Learning from these mistakes will be key for a new dynasty. Can't learn unless you strike out, unless you make a big mistake. Cubs, fortunately, are learning now. And they're learning at the deadline what it means to be a seller. This is really the first time that the Cubs have actively sold under Jed Hoyer and new management. Before it was always a rebuild, so they were never really in the trade market. Then they were only buying every year, trying to become better, trying to get to that second World Series. It never happened. So this whole process is a learning process, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. I appreciate that finally someone over there is thinking with some sense. Someone's realizing, you know what, this team isn't good. These guys aren't performing. We have to change and pivot if we want to be great again. Every great company, every great organization goes through a pivoting stage. Usually it comes before bankruptcy, but in this case, it's a real pivot to try and get better for the future. And to the Cubs' credit, to Jed Hoyer's credit, they got a lot back for Andrew Chapin. I know Chapin had a great year, but at the end of the day, he's a bullpen piece. They brought back a couple of really good prospects who have a chance to bloom soon. Dykman from the A's, first baseman, supposed to be good, 900 OPS in the minors. And Palencia, a pitcher, tops out in the high 90s. They both may end up being nothing. We don't know. These are all prospects subject to change. But I'll say this. To get back to decent prospects, one of which is a top 10 A's prospect. For Andrew Chapin, are you kidding me? That's an outstanding trade. Now we're seeing talks about Kris Bryant, and it looks like the Giants may offer Joey Bart, one of their top prospects. Sign me up. I know it's tough to adjust to this reality. I get it. Like you're at a garage sale selling all your possessions and hoping for a buck or two. I understand. It's not easy. No one said it would be easy or fun or happy to deal with. But you do realize that the Cubs are actually getting back decent players. Really good players who could actually be great and again usher in a new era of Cubs baseball. A more successful era. Not impossible. Who's to say in 2025 the Cubs won't have a better team than the 2016 team? They'll win more World Series. It's possible, but that can't happen unless you make the moves to make it happen. Cubs are doing it. I'll tell you this much. If they get back Joey Bart for Bryant, ka-ching. They got back two good prospects for Chapin. Are you kidding me? Think about who else could go and what could come back. Baez, Rizzo. This is the best thing the Cubs have done for you since 2016. Keep believing that. May not look good, may not feel good in your heart, but trust me, it's the best thing they've done. For once, there is no delusion. They're admitting, you know what, we're not a good team. We could be in a couple of years. So let's trade what we have now and let's build the next super contender. I have no issue with that. That's the big positive of this entire thing. I know for some it's hard. And when I was a kid, pretty hard for me to get rid of Derek Lee. When the Cubs traded Lee in 2010, 2011, not easy. But I got over it. Anthony Rizzo came, Cubs won a World Series. See what I mean? Now, I understand the Cubs core is more special than even Derek Lee because they won the World Series. But you have to understand that all these guys can't play anymore. Or some of them can play, but they can't win anymore as a team, as a unit. And that's been apparent. They've been given more than enough opportunities. They've been given help via the trade deadline, free agency, money's been thrown in their faces. Nothing's worked. So, it's time to move on. You can only give people so many chances. When you have Jason Hayward having an 80 OPS plus, when Ian Happ can literally hit 150 at best, I mean, it's pretty apparent that it's over. Nothing wrong with that. Again, I appreciate, finally, someone standing up and saying, this team is bad now, time to move on. Versus the past couple of years, Theo Epstein shooting prospects away, taking on these players who mean nothing. Jose Quintana was one of the worst trades in Cubs history. Seriously. Name me a worse trade for the Cubs than maybe Lou Brock back in the 1960s. Maybe. So you have to realize what happened after 2016 and why are the Cubs where they are today? Serious question. Cap even said the other day on the program, this was an organizational failure. How many times have I said that? Organizational failure top to bottom. Everybody is culpable. Theo Epstein's very culpable, though, for making some of these moves that were completely unnecessary. Jose Quintana was a joke. Paying Jason Hayward that much money? Joke. Yu Darvish, then trading him, that was Jed? Joke. The whole thing should not have happened. You know, if they approached last year or even 2019 differently, they could have rebuilt on the fly. Still, there was an opportunity in 2018, 2019 to rebuild on the fly, not have a full down, tear down rebuild, and be good in a year. They chose not to do it. For what reason, I don't know. My guess is Marquee. Everyone's favorite Marquee sports network. Because they knew a TV channel was coming, and there's no way you could put out an inferior product to launch a new TV channel. That just wouldn't work. So they put off the field interests above on the field interests, a winning team, and that's how things worked out. Now the Cubs are where they are today. I don't know many Cubs fans who are happy about all this. To their credit, I think people have finally stopped being delusional. And I know a month ago was way different. Got people saying they're going to win the division, go to the World Series, real contender. I don't think so. But today, people have realized what needs to happen. May not be easy, may not be highly liked or acceptable, but everybody knows at the end of the day what needs to happen for this team to be great again. That's why the Cubs, what they're doing right now, the greatest thing they've done for you since 2016. Tell me I'm wrong. For once, they're realizing where they are. They know where they could be in a couple of years if they play their cards right. They're getting back very good prospects for players you don't even know about, really. Chapin was here a half a year in the bullpen. They got back 2 good prospects, one of which was a top 10. Imagine what they get back for Bryant, Rizzo, Baez. Good players. This isn't any old garage sale here. They're not getting rid of Van Gogh paintings for $12. They're actually bringing in some good return on their investments. Not everybody's capable of going. For example, no one will take on Jason Hayward. That's a fact. No one will take Ian Happ, unfortunately. But for the most part, you could get value out of these players, out of the old core. Nothing wrong with that. I love this. I've been calling for this for 3 years. Now you'll see this team finally rebuild. And in 2025, when they're in the World Series again, you'll be like, wow, you know what? I'm happy this happened. I'm actually mad it took them this long to realize it. You'll be thinking that in a couple of years when they're good again. It's almost here. By starting now, by being proactive today, less time to wait. They started today. By 2025, I guarantee you, division winner. Guaranteed. Save the video. Like the video. Remember this. By 2025, they're going to be a division winner. No doubt. Because they started today. They were proactive. They saw where the organization was going. They saw that these guys just couldn't play anymore. Time to move on. They won a World Series. Legends. Great team. Move on. I didn't see the Cubs of 1908 hold on to all these players. It was a much different Cubs team in 1918 compared to 1908. New core, new players, and they made it back with a different team. Nothing wrong with that. And for some of these guys, it could actually be beneficial. Think about it that way, too. Hey, Kyle Schwarber left, hitting bombs until he got hurt. A change of scenery could actually help out these players. They could perform better. Now, it might hurt that they're not performing for your team anymore, but for their career's sake, for future paycheck's sake, for their livelihood, that's a good thing, too. You have to look at it that way. So, believe it or not, there's a lot of good that's come from this. Might be hard to see today, might be heartbreaking to see today, but a lot of good. A lot of good things. The Cubs will be better because they've started to rebuild today. So they'll be better sooner. All these players who can't perform and are sick and tired of hearing their names and rumors could go, finally, and improve. Cubs could rebuild, get back great prospects, and by 2025, they'll be a division winner with a brand new core. I see no issues with this whatsoever. It's obviously time. Might hurt, but it's time. And we all know it. There's really no more denying it anymore. I see people even say, you know what, it is time. It is time. It's been time. We're doing the right thing business-wise. They will be okay in a couple of years. And when this team wins a second World Series in this decade, you'll be like, well, why did it take so long? Don't hold on to the past relics. They're good. They deserve to be revered, but they're in the past. Look towards the future. And finally, the Cubs are doing that. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Mark Medina comes up next, so stay tuned.